Ukraine is gearing up for a different type of warfare, with Russia setting its sights on complete control of the Donbas region. U.S. defense officials have been sounding the alarm for weeks now, saying closer range combat could soon shift to long-range battles that rely on artillery and multiple launch rocket systems. Moscow has said its new goal in the war is complete control of Ukraine's eastern and southern regions. Right now, we're going to bring in Lieutenant Colonel Darin Gaub, a Black Hawk helicopter pilot, international military strategist, and co-founder of Restore Liberty. Colonel Gaub, first of all, if I would start with, what is the significance behind Defense Secretary Austin and Secretary of State Blinken to visit President Zelensky in Kyiv tomorrow?
Hey, Arthur. Yeah, thanks for having me on. I would say the first thing that came to my mind was that the security situation on the ground allows for those two to travel into Kyiv and be part of those discussions. I would focus on that being the number one takeaway.
And meanwhile, I want to take a look so we can continue. Let's look at the next round of U.S. military vehicles, artillery, and aircraft being sent to Ukraine. We're going to have a list here. It includes over 700 Switchblade tactical unmanned aerial systems, 90 155-millimeter howitzers. You've got 72 tactical vehicles to tow those howitzers, and then 16 Mi-17 helicopters, as well as hundreds of armored high-mobility multi-purpose wheeled vehicles. So, Colonel, I mean, does Ukraine have enough personnel, enough military equipment, the right military equipment, access to that equipment to continue to hold back these Russian forces?
Yeah, it seems like they do ultimately, but one of the challenges that when I looked at this list of the different weapon systems we were sending them, and in talking to our sources in the Ukraine, is it's not just enough for these pieces of equipment to arrive. They come with a logistics requirement, they come with a training requirement, and a lot of these systems are very Western in origin, and from as simple as a manual for how to use one of these systems that's printed in all English to be handed to somebody in Ukraine, it adds challenges to their ability to employ them quickly in a conflict that doesn't change day to day necessarily, but changes fast enough to where being asked to pull people off the front line potentially in the east to get trained in these systems and then push them back to the east to use them takes away precious time and people from the fight that's ongoing. Our sources say that's one of their frustrations, is their inability to really adapt Western systems quickly into the conflict that they have there now.
And like you said, it's a hot war. There's no way around it, though. So how do you negotiate that?
Well, the first thing we can do is not stop. Clearly, there's no need to stop it. There's an opportunity to get systems into Ukraine and for them to learn and to use them. We need to keep doing that. But we need to start thinking about how we can train, or how we can help support Ukrainians fight like Ukrainians with equipment that they're used to, more than necessarily just Western systems. Javelins and Stingers and certain other systems of ours are easier to learn, easier to use, and easier to train on than others. But when you start getting into these more complex systems with a lot more requirements, it's going to take more time. And we need to start looking at equipment they're used to using.
And you know, some would say, well, why not send them the best of the best equipment that the U.S. has to offer? But to your point, it doesn't matter if they can't get up to speed quickly enough to learn how to operate that equipment.
Oh, absolutely. One of my past jobs, I ended up training 33 U.S. brigades to go overseas and fight in multiple conflict zones. And the training challenges for those people using systems that are American, using manuals that are in English, is still a tough thing to do. To put in this extra language barrier makes it even harder.
Okay. Yeah, I do see the complications of this already very complicated war. I want to get now, Colonel, your assessment of Putin's current strategy to occupy Mariupol, free up his soldiers to fight elsewhere, create that land bridge with Crimea, also to effectively, landlock Ukraine, which would cripple, if not deplete, the nation's economy. I mean, what's the effect on that? And do you think, while we're at it, do you think that, two questions here combined, do you think that Putin's war on Ukraine could last until the end of next year that we've been hearing about? Is that feasible? Are the Russian troops capable?
I don't think either country is necessarily capable of lasting even into this fall the way they're going right now. Could there be some sort of stalemate that would make it last a lot longer? That's happened in wars in the past. It could happen here, but it would just means no one's really doing anything. But ultimately, I do believe that this is a sort of like a next level strategy for Russia, is to accept potentially what they really always wanted, which was that land bridge from Crimea up through the Donbas region into Russia proper. Mariupol is a big deal, but to be able to move from Mariupol to the Odessa region is even bigger. Like you said, you're basically landlocking a country that requires a lot of maritime trade. And if Russia's successful in that, we need to look at other places where there are land bridges that connect Russian people to Russia mainland, and consider that Putin could be looking at those as well.
And that's what President Zelensky says. He will not stop here. But I have to leave it here for now. Lieutenant Colonel Darin Gaub, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll have you on again. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Arthel.